Brett's with us. Brett is in Kansas City. Hi, Brett. How are you?
I'm good, Dave. Thank you for taking my call. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. How can I help, sir?
Well, my car I've held on to it for 12 years. It's on its last leg. So I think I'm going to have to get a new one, but that's not really my question. That's got me thinking. I kind of feel sometimes like I'm addicted to saving, and people tell me all the time that I take it overboard. I need to enjoy my money. And sometimes I agree with that and think that might not be such a bad idea. But then the next day I wake up and think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get where I need to be unless I constantly save. So I kind of wanted to just get your input and give me some direction.
Okay, well, let me kind of give you, before we get into your numbers and the situation there, let me kind of give you a way to know if you're out of balance on something, okay?
Okay.
And the way I look at it is I use ratios, okay? If, for instance, it sounds like you need a new car, and you have saved $5 million, and you're freaking out over spending $15,000 to go get you a good used car, then, dude, you're out of line, you know? Come on. Right? That's a very small percentage of your world. But if you're sitting there, you know, and you got $50,000 to your whole name, and your broke friends are suggesting you're going to go buy a $25,000 car right now, then your broke friends are stupid. Because, see, that ratio is different. You follow me?
Right.
And so, you know, you should always be enjoying and spending some percentage of your money. You should always be saving some percentage of your money. And you should always be giving some percentage of your money. And if you can't do that, then that's where we know we're messed up. So how much is in your nest egg?
My net worth is about $143,000.
Okay. What do you make a year?
I gross 60. I put $5,200 in my 401k a year.
Yeah.
My total expenses a month are about $2,000. That's including, I just got a mortgage last year. After all of my 401k and all of my expenses are paid, I have about $1,100 a month that I put in a Vanguard index mutual fund. So I feel like I do a pretty decent job of saving.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are you giving?
Material. Yes.
Okay.
And I don't need a lot of fancy things. I'm not embarrassed by my car.
Right. What do you spend on that's just fun? What do you call fun that costs money?
Well, I like to sing karaoke a lot, so I'll go out on the weekends to the bar.
All right. And so, I mean, that's an indulgence, right? I mean, and
right.
So your car is worth, what do you think, today?
Maybe 14, and the repair bill's $1,300.
Yeah. Okay. Probably time to move up in car. So
right.
if I said go buy a $7,000 car, would that freak you out?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then then you're right. You're a little bit tight on that part of it because you've got the money in that Vanguard account. How much is in that Vanguard account?
61,000.
Yeah. And so $7,000 is not going to damage your world. I'm not suggesting you buy a $50,000 car, okay? But if you bought a $7,000 car, your world's not going to change. Your future's not going to change or be in jeopardy. And you know, to the extent you can't, and you're sitting there driving a piece of crap that's done. I mean, it's done. You don't spend $1,300 on a $1,400 car. That would just be good money after bad. And so it's time for you to move up a little bit in car and get you something a little bit nicer. By the way, the difference in a $7,000 car and a $1,400 car is not a little bit. It's light years different. But you know, it's time for you to do that. Yeah, you're right. You are probably a little tight on that. But are you completely like over the top, got some kind of savings illness or something? No. You just have a natural tendency towards saving. But make sure you're making reasonable spending decisions, reasonable giving decisions, along with what is borderline unreasonable saving.
Yeah,
and if you keep doing that, you'll be okay. You're fine.
Okay, good. I'm trying to get to that $1 million mark. I want to be able to call into your show.
Yeah, you're on your way, man. You're going to make it. You're doing good. You're doing really good. Congratulations. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button to get the latest content and check out these other great clips from the show. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Hi. So a little bit about my situation. I just turned 50 last month.
Cool.
I have been engaged for 8 years. My fiance and I, we have a daughter together. She's 7 years old. I have 2 teenagers from my first marriage, and my fiance has 2 adult children. And here's my question. So I'm increasingly becoming a little worried about my future. I don't work. My fiance and I agreed that I should, stay at home with my daughter. And my 2 other kids, they live with us. He's the primary breadwinner. He owns 3 houses, and they are all in his name. He had 1 house before we were engaged, but he has since purchased 2 other homes, neither of which I am on the title. I drive a car that's in his name. My phone is in his name. I have absolutely nothing in my name. And in addition to that, he will not be transparent with me. Like if something were to happen to him, like he won't show me the will. I'm just becoming really insecure, I guess, in my relationship, but in my financial situation as well. And I just don't know what to do at this stage.
You don't want to be...
I feel like I'm very in the dark.
You are in the dark.
You are in the dark. I'm insecure for you.
Me too. Go ahead, John.
How can we help? I don't know what you're asking. If you were my sister, I would tell you to pack up everything you have and go get an attorney today. Mm-hmm. It's been 8 years.
You're not married yet. You're still engaged?
We are not married. We are.
But Colorado's a common law state. But it's also, geez, it's a mess. This is an absolute stone mess. Yeah. How can I help you? What are you looking for?
Well, I'm just wondering, if I were to leave the relationship, basically I'm guessing I am not entitled to anything but perhaps child support.
I think I'm not a legal expert, so I can't give you legal advice, but I think that's wildly inaccurate. I think after a certain time, again, don't hold me to this, check with a licensed attorney in your state, but I think after you pass a certain point, there's property that y'all earned, quote unquote, together, whether you were putting money in the pot or not, because the house doesn't run without you, right? And so that allowed somebody to go earn some money. So, but sit with an attorney and work through all that. I want to go back to something you just said. You said, if I were to end this relationship, like my friend Michelle, like your relationship's over. Y'all can build something new from here and decide you're gonna do this thing right. But what to allow somebody to take care of a child with as little information as you have, as to hang somebody out to dry like this. This is not a relationship. This is not a partnership. This is a really messy power trip is what this is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like there's just so much control. I feel like there's like this hierarchy of power, and I feel like I'm at the very bottom of that. So I am in complete agreement, which is why I am just so frustrated, which is kind of like the reason for my call.
Yeah, but you're frustrated about bigger stuff than this. There's no way that y'all have a great intimate life. There's no way you have a great, y'all are friends, that y'all hang out. Because friends, I wouldn't do this with my buddy, right? Like my buddy Todd was my college roommate. He knows where my will is, right? He knows the role he plays in my will. And he's just a friend. He's not my wife, right? This is just common decency.
Right.
And he won't even give you that. So y'all have deeper issues here. You got to bite the bullet and go get an attorney. And if you have a couple of friends in town that you could reach out to that would recommend somebody that would be good and fair and give you honest advice and not rake you over the coals, man, that'd be my next step.
And if we were to try to repair our relationship,
You're not repairing anything. The car has been totaled. You would have to build something completely new.
okay.
And that begins with you saying, here's what I want, and here's what I need, and here's what I'm worth in terms of a relationship. And somewhere along the way, over the last almost decade, you've decided that your voice doesn't matter almost as much as he does.
When did this start? When did you start feeling this way?
I've started feeling this way the past few years, but as I turned 50, I have just felt really worthless.
Yeah.
Just because I don't feel like I have anything. And like I said, like, I think for me, when I turned 50, I kind of like hit a corner. I'm like, I don't know how long I have, but I mean, if he were to walk away or if something were to happen, I am really fearful that I would, have to start at the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
And, obviously I need to get a job and I need to get my life together.
But I think your fear is very warranted.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'm
I
scared
really
for
appreciate you confirming that.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Yeah,
let me confirm
really
it this way.
scared
You're
myself.
not crazy. If you were my friend, I would tell you you're crazy for sticking around for 8 years because you've allowed this to happen.
Right.
True that.
I have. I mean, it is on me. That is absolutely for sure.
But the beauty of that
right.
is once you take ownership of that, next step's on you too.
Okay.
Right? Go call
Well,
an
thank
attorney.
you so much for your...
You got it. Oh yeah, man, we love you. Call anytime we can help, but call an attorney and get that process going.
My goodness. I'm almost glad that we're going to a break because this is the third time in a very short period today that I've just heard and been on calls where men are tripping.
Yeah.
And I want to go. I want to go so hard in the paint right now, but I can't. But I just need these guys to get in line and understand that they need to love their families well and they need to do better.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by Xander Insurance. Compare rates from top term life insurance companies in seconds at Xander.com.
So back when I was going to college, my parents and I took out student loans to pay for them. When taking out the loans, there was no conversation about me having any responsibility for the parent portion of the loans. Now, 6 years later, my parents are blaming my sisters and I for not having any money in retirement and for filing bankruptcy and saying that after all of that, we're going to have to take over the loans because they shouldn't have to worry about that this time in their lives. And I told them no, but that caused a bunch of arguments. And I suggested family counseling, and that was rejected too. And I guess just want to know, are we in the wrong? Having tried to help them, it seems like they have no willingness to change and letting money come between the family.
Now, what they've done is gross to put that on you. You are not the solution to their financial mess, and they're just in a real pickle and looking at their pile of debts going, well, if the kids didn't cause all of this harm to us, we would be in a very different place. The truth is they have been reckless for a long time with their money. They didn't have a conversation about what was going to happen with college and student loans. They decided to take on all of the debt in their name only with this Parent Plus loan with crazy high interest, and now they want to pin it on you when they're in a bind. I'm not buying it. And I'm guessing the relationship with your parents has not been great for a long time.
That is correct, yes.
It's been transactional and very, well, look at what we did for you, and this is what you have to do for us. And I'm also guessing there's a lot more debt laying around here than just these Parent Plus loans.
I only recommend term life insurance because it's simple, affordable coverage. And you should get it only from Xander Insurance because they work for you, not the insurance companies. Xander compares all the top term plans to save you money so you don't get ripped off with insurance that they market like a so-called investment. Term from Xander is the only life insurance I would get from my family. It's all I've ever bought and all I've ever recommended. Go to Xander.com or call 800-356-4282.
I'm also guessing there's a lot more debt laying around here than just these Parent Plus loans.
That, as far as I know, yes. they're never open about it. So I wouldn't know for sure, but the bankruptcy wouldn't even impact
bankruptcy
it.
does not discharge student loans.
Right. So
And
why
so-
would they do it if it was only the student loans?
Exactly. Do you know anything about their financial picture?
I don't know exactly. No. They've never been open about it.
This
Okay.
is just so warped. The way you describe this, I just think you need such clear and very high boundaries that are in stone, like concrete boundaries, not flexible plastic fencing boundaries. This is just so weird, and I think there needs to be a real clear, clean boundary established, and walk away from this nonsense. Because this isn't just coming at you; they're coming at your sisters too. You said so. This is so unhealthy and I use the word warped on purpose. You got to make a clean cut for now and hope for healing. Hope for something, but there's nothing you can do anyway. So them putting this guilt trip on you because they're desperate, and I don't want to be too critical, George, of the parents. It is warped. It's crazy unhealthy. But they are hurting and they're desperate. This smells of desperation.
That's usually when you go to blame everyone else, is when you're backed into a corner like this. And so the best thing you can do is be kind, be firm, be respectful, set the boundary, and let them know, hey, listen, I'm not in a position to pay this back. We never had this conversation. There's nothing in writing saying that we were going to be obligated to pay this debt. You guys decided this is how we're going to help and, quote, pay for school, and therefore it's your responsibility. And if you're in a position to help, if you're going, hey, we got the money sitting in savings and we want to morally do this, that's fine, but you have no legal responsibility to pay this back. And I wouldn't let them guilt trip you into saying, well, if mom and dad are going to be homeless unless you foot the bill. I'm not buying that either.
Yeah, I agree. It just feels so manipulative. Let's see if we can get Eric in. Eric is in Atlanta, Georgia. Eric, how can we help?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. What's going on today?
Hey, so I have a pretty personal question here. So I would say I'm pretty far well off in terms of financial stability. My question is if I should save for an extra rainy day, and that extra rainy day meaning marriage and future kids, most likely, or should I be a little bit more selfish with my spending and just kind of boost my own standards of living?
Well, I want to release you from the selfishness. Let's find option C, where it's not save for a fictitious family. I don't know what we're saving for, or save for me to buy a nice car. What's going on financially with you? Do you have a bunch of money laying around?
Well, let's see. My net worth is right around $350,000.
Okay.
And I already have a house that's already paid off as well.
Amazing.
And
you got an emergency fund?
the emergency fund is pretty much whatever is in my high yield savings.
Yeah. How much is there?
Really. $200,000.
$200,000?
Yeah, that's what I put in my high yield savings for the maximum ROI on interest.
Okay, but what are we? I like money to have a goal, and that is way beyond a 6-month emergency fund for you. And so, what would be your next goal? Are you saying, "Hey, I don't really have one. I have a paid-for house." Are you investing 15% or more of your income at this point?
Yeah, 15% is already invested into retirement funds each year.
Okay, you sound like you are the eternal saver, and so it might be time to upgrade some things in your life reasonably. We're paying cash. We're not going to have this be a large portion of our world. But if you want to buy a few nice toys, go for it.
Yeah, but he's in such a position that I'm not worried about him having money for a future family.
Yeah, you're fine. It's a line item in the budget.
Yeah.
A family doesn't show up and you go, "I need $100,000." It's just a line item.
That's true.
For a ring,
You're doing
and then
good.
for a wedding, and
Yeah.
you'll have the savings ready to go, my friend. I'd get out there. I'd get out of the house and start meeting some people. And maybe find a nice lady.
There we go.
If anyone depends on your income, you need affordable term life. Never cash value insurance. Visit Xander.com today for quotes.
Brought to you by CHM, a biblically based alternative to health insurance. Learn more at chministries.org/budget.
My question is, am I in the wrong because I don't want to go on a spring break trip with my husband and daughter to visit their sick grandma?
Ooh, wow. Okay, what's the heart behind it?
Yes, you're wrong.
Is there more context
Give us more
here, or is that
context.
it?
The context is we're in baby step 2, and we had already invested about $800 to get a plane ticket for just my daughter to go out and visit Grandma. Grandma has been battling cancer for years, and she's probably on her last year. And so we definitely wanted her to spend time with her. But that's what we had discussed. And then today my husband says, well, why don't we all go? And I'm just not sure that's the right thing to do.
So he's going with her without you to see his mom.
Sounds like it. The other, it's his grandma, so my daughter's great grandma.
Okay.
And the stipulation, I guess, that's important is Grandma's willing to foot the bill to pay for our tickets.
Okay. Can she afford that?
She can.
Okay.
She's got a paid-off house. You know, she's invested well. She's ready to spend her money. It's the end of her life. But, you know, my thing is I'm missing out on an opportunity to earn money. When it's spring break, I'm a school teacher, and so when I'm on break, that's a great time for me to pick up extra jobs and make more money, and my son can still go to daycare. But I'm going to miss out on the opportunity to make money and pay off our debt if we go on this trip.
How much are you talking? I mean, how much can you earn in a week?
$500, $600.
How much debt are you guys in?
We've got $11,000 in a car that should be paid off by March due to cashing out a whole life plan. And then we have my husband's student loans.
How much is that?
$60,000.
Okay. So the current trajectory, when is all of this debt going to be paid off? All $71,000 with your household income?
If I continue working, then in 18 months.
Okay. And if you skip this extra week of work that would have amounted to $500, it would slow it down to 17.7 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and Noelle, hold on.
I just want to make sure that's really what we're talking about.
No, this has nothing to do with that. You're mad at your husband.
Yes.
Because you want to stay at home and you're having to work to pay off his student loans. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You have to get to the root of this thing. Because on its face, let me just say, you can feel however you want to feel. Your feelings are yours and you get to do them. And there's lots of spouses that go visit family members that don't want to, but they do it. And if it's grandma's last year of her life and she's offering to pay to fly everybody to say goodbye one more time, then if you can do that, I would say do that. But you've got to address your anger. And maybe it's not wholly at your husband. Maybe it's at just life. And you love him and you're glad you married him and all this stuff, but it just is what it is, what it is. You need to address that because you're creating a life that you are resentful of. Does that make sense?
That sounds true.
Okay, I was going to make sure I'm not crazy. So have that conversation with yourself and with him. Because right now for him, he thinks he just figured it out. Oh, we can all go and it's going to be free for us.
Got it.
I mean, and if you don't want to go and you need to work and you've already committed, spring break's just a few weeks from now, if you've already committed, then say, I got to meet my commitment. And if this is the last year, we're all going to be going back anyway for the funeral, in the next year. So if that's the case, that's the case. But I'd much rather you deal with what's really going on here, which is you're stuck in a situation, having to work when you want to be home with your baby, and it's real frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Tell me I'm bananas.
You're not.
Okay.
I think you were able to justify
even the tension in my body.
Yeah, I can hear it through the phone, man.
You've been trying to justify it by going, well, we're in debt. I could make more money. It will speed it up. And we just proved with math that it's 0.3 months of, it's really not about that. But I do think relationships are not convenient. Family is not convenient. Health crises are not convenient. And that's a part of life on the baby steps. And so we would tell you, hey, if this is really important to your family, you might need to just pause and take the trip and let it slow it down by a few weeks. And we'll make it up on the back end. But right now, I think you might need to be there for your husband.
Or the other side, if being around grandma and her family, aunts and uncles are going to be there, make you sick to your stomach, they've said ugly things about you, whatever, then have that honest conversation, because it's going to be bewildering to your husband who doesn't know that you are this against going, or you're this frustrated with the life that you're leading, and he's not going to be able to figure out over $400 that you're, or $500 that you may earn over a spring break week. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. I think I need to be honest with myself about where the anger is coming from and have that conversation.
There you go. And if you get to the end and you still don't want to go, don't go, but just be honest about why you're not going. And if every George, this is kind of epidemic levels of people opting out of family because they're annoying, or sometimes you just go. Sometimes you go and you sit by your husband, you sit by your wife, and you hold their hand and make sure they're not alone when they're going through a really hard moment, right? And again, you and I don't know if this grandma meant to him, if
it's hard for her husband to share this, that, hey, here's really why I want you to go.
Yeah. What I'm guessing is happening is he sees how stressed she gets and how frustrated she gets when she has to work this extra week, and he thinks he just solved it. He's like, oh, dude,
all
vacation,
expenses
paid trip, and I get to see grandma, but we get to go to Texas. And she's like, I hate all of my life and you, and not really hate, but you know what I mean. So yeah, sometimes getting to the root of the issue is where we got to go.
Absolutely.
CHM isn't health insurance. It's a health cost-sharing ministry. Check it out for yourself at chministries.org/budget.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
We're looking for advice on what we can do for financing for flipping houses. We currently use our home equity line of credit for the purchasing and remodeling, but of course that payment gets a little high. So we're just looking for some ideas of what to do.
Okay. I've probably done 1,500 or 2,000 flips in my life.
Okay.
It's what I used to do for a living before I went broke, because I borrowed money doing flips. So for 35 years, I've taught people not to borrow money as a primary way to lower risk and create wealth. I don't borrow money, and so I'm not going to be able to help you borrow money.
Okay. What do you, do you just straight out advise just cash for flipping a house?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons why. Okay. When you use financing to purchase a house that you're going to flip, you're not as careful as when you use money out of your bank account to purchase a house to flip. When you are using financing to do the renovation on the flip, you're not as careful as when you're pulling your stinking hard-earned money out of your checking account to do the renovation, and you end up spending more on the purchase, more on the renovation, thus your margins are lower. Oh, and then when you get ready to sell it and interest rates tick up from 3 to 7 and the market slows down dramatically and you're sitting on this thing with payments, you become what's called a motivated seller, and you give up the rest of your margin. So your margins are destroyed when you do flips for those three reasons with financing. So I would go a lot slower, buy a lot smaller, buy something seriously junky and tiny, and flip it with cash out of your pocket. Use every bit of the profits from that to upgrade your flip to the next one, upgrade your flip to the next one, and organically grow your cash base with profits to increase the quality of the flip that you're doing. Because what you are doing causes more people to go broke than it prospers more people, including me.
Okay.
So I'm really scared for you, because the thing that has to go through your mind when you're doing these deals is that this is all going to work, and it never, in real estate, I've done thousands of transactions, it never works exactly the way you thought it was going to.
Yep, that's exactly right. And, Tara, my husband, just even this last year, he's kind of started in this game.
He's done 3 flips.
Yeah, and we've cash flowed it. And you're right. And
he's good at real estate.
And he does it. So I can't take any credit. But yeah, there's like it's a state sale. There's dead rats in the house. I mean, they're not pretty properties. But then when you go and what you're saying, you make the selections, and it's us making the selections out of our own account. You are like, okay, what can we do here to save money here? I mean, you were thinking through everything. We brought the kids out to do the yard work last weekend over Easter to help move some stuff before they went through and like tore out the bushes. And, you just think about it different. And it's a slower process. It's not as fun and flashy, but there's so much less risk. And if something were to happen, you're okay. You're okay because you don't owe a bank something, like it goes back to the options like we talked about in the last hour.
I mean, let's pretend there was a Fauci pandemic or something like that. And the market just froze like a deer in the headlights, and nobody's leaving their home, and they're cuddled up in the corner with their mask.
Well, and what happened with you was that you had so many of those going, and you were good at it.
Yeah.
And because of that, you kept building on it and making a bigger risk. Yeah. And then when
I had $1.7 million in finance flips at 24 years old. I owed the bank $1.7 million on flips.
Remind everybody, because that was
1984.
Decades ago. Because it's $1.7 million now for some people.
Yeah, okay.
It's like
it would be $8 million now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had the equivalent of $8 million financed in today's dollars under flips at 24 years old in 1984. It was at $1.7 million. $1.1 million with one bank, and this is how I learned not to borrow money. Yeah, and I had 30% equity positions in almost every one of them. I was not late on a single note. So what happened, Dave? What happened to your little house of cards? The bank got sold. Small town bank, doing business with me. They knew I knew what I was doing. My family had been in the real estate business. I've got a family history of knowing what we're doing. All of a sudden, some bozo in Atlanta instead of Nashville is making a decision, and he looked down and said, a 24-year-old owes us $1.3 million. Have we lost our minds as a bank? Answer, yes, and they called our notes, which they have the right to do with commercial paper. It has a call provision in it if they don't like the quality of collateral. And they suddenly just declared that they didn't like the quality of their collateral anymore. And now I've got to come up with $1.3 million, and I'm 24 years old, and it's all tied up in real estate, and I probably got $30,000 in cash because I was a freaking genius and had it all figured out. Now, there's your TikTok deal right there. You TikTok morons wanting to flip houses. So there you go. And so that's exactly what's happening. Now, and I spent the next 3 years of my life losing everything I own. And so the year Rachel was born, we ended up filing bankruptcy at the bottom of it. Lost every stinking thing. One year I made $250,000. That's $20,000 a month in $1984. The next year my taxable income was $6,000. I spent the whole year selling stuff to avoid foreclosure or being foreclosed on the way down into bankruptcy. So, yeah, trauma. Mm-hmm. I'm a trauma survivor. So that's it. And so Dave, don't borrow money. When the borrower is slave to the lenders in the Bible, I think God's smart. I think God knows something I don't know. And I don't borrow money anymore. So all that to say, Tara, call
the wrong guy.
No, but no, you know,
on the right guy.
If whoever told you to call over here, I think they set you up. But yeah, I want you to go do flips. I mean, my son-in-law does them. My daughter's husband sitting right here, and I taught him how. I taught him a lot.
How to go get foreclosures.
Not everything. I taught him how to buy foreclosures and buy real estate.
Yeah.
He worked running our Ramsey portfolio for a lot of years and still runs it. But he's using the formulas right now that we talked about back in those days, and he's paying cash. So I'm not against flips, but do it with cash, and you make way better decisions all the way across the board, and you don't turn yourself into a motivated seller. And you won't hear any of that on TikTok, I can tell you. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
All right, George, let's talk inflation, shall we?
Yes. So we took a call earlier about housing. And it's a stressful thing for a lot of people, combating inflation, protecting your four walls. And so we've been doing a series on this. We've covered food and utilities. We've got those highlights on our YouTube channel for you to go check out. And today I want to talk about housing. This is a big issue. Whether you're renting or you're looking to buy a house, this is a tough situation for a lot of people. We're seeing prices ballooning out of control right now. I mean, we're seeing some stats here. Rent has ballooned 20% since January 2021. We're seeing them be much higher elsewhere, 50%, even 60% in some areas with rent. So let's talk about ways to save on rent. Number one, this is uncomfortable. No one wants to do it. Get a roommate. I know, you don't want to live with other people. People are complicated. You want to have your own space. You don't want to deal with the dishes sitting in the sink. But that person can cut your housing expenses in half. And this can be a great temporary short gap to get you to where you want to be financially. Number two, sign a longer lease. A lot of the times, if you sign a longer lease, if you know you're going to stay in the same place for a while, you can sign a 16-month lease, an 18-month lease, and save some money that way. And lastly, this is a crazy one, you can move out. You can go find cheaper rent elsewhere. And it may mean moving out of the fancy city and you're a little further out. But if you can stomach the commute, or if you're remote, man, that opens you up to a lot of options when it comes to rent. Do that. Now, when it comes to buying a house, this is a big one, Ken. People are making some really terrible decisions out there because of the FOMO and the market, and they feel like if they don't get in now, they'll never get in.
Now, what is the FOMO, George?
The FOMO is the housing prices are going up so fast that I'll never be able to save up, so why not just do it now? Even though I can't afford the mortgage, I'm just going to go ahead and do it and worry about it later. And I can tell you, we take plenty of calls here on the Ramsey Show of people who call in and say, Ken, George, I made a huge mistake. We jumped into a house too soon because we were impulsive. We skipped the appraisal. We skipped the inspection. The roof is caving in. It needs $20K of work, and we don't know what to do. And the mortgage payment we can't breathe with this payment. So I want you to buy a house the right way, and that means saving money, because you're not going to be drowning. So here's how to save on housing. Number one, save up 10 to 20% for your down payment. And I want you to avoid PMI. That's private mortgage insurance, if you can put 20% down or more, which is money that protects the banks, not you, in case you can't pay. Number two, I want your payment to be no more than 25% of your monthly take-home pay on a 15-year fixed loan. Now, that's hard for a lot of people. They go, well, God, come on, Ken, it's going to take me 7 years to get there. I'm fine with that if it means you're not broke for the next 7 years because you had no patience to wait.
Yeah.
And third, this goes right into this. Wait until the market cools down. We're seeing interest rates start to go up, which hopefully helps cool off the market. I'm not going to predict anything, but that's the hope. Yeah. So let's chill out. Let's be patient. Let's take this time to save up even more for the down payment so that when it cools down, we can make a level-headed decision.
I got a thought, George. You were talking about FOMO, and fear of missing out is what you're talking about. I think it needs to be FOSO, fear of stressed out.
Ooh, I like that.
That's not good at all.
Well,
it's not good.
I want you all to check out the full blog at RamseySolutions.com. It's called How to Combat Inflation and Protect Your Four Walls. We cover everything from food, utilities, housing, transportation. I think even if you do a few of these ideas, it will help create some margin in your budget so that you can breathe, so that we can get through this crazy time of inflation.
People have been asking, hey, what's going on with taxes this year? What's changed? What do I actually need to know? Can you just give me the facts?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. We've got 5 things here. Quick details. Number one, guys, you can start to file your taxes early. You do not need to wait until April. You can start by the end of January. So get it done early. The filing deadline is April 18th, but you do not need to wait until April 18th, okay? You don't want to be scrambling and scratching. Now, if you do need to file an extension, the deadline to do that would make your filing deadline October 16th. So make sure to get that in. George, what we got here?
We got the standard deduction, so that increased. It's $12,950 for single filers and $25,900 for married couples filing jointly.
Let's go.
And that's a good thing because that deduces your taxable income, which means you're paying less in taxes.
That's right.
And partially, thanks to inflation, which income tax brackets also went up in 2022 to account for inflation.
They did. And guys, we want to warn you about scams. Watch out for this because you'll get people coming out of the woodwork talking about tax relief, debt consolidation scams. And I want you guys to know you might come home to emails or
phone calls,
voicemails,
text messages are the new thing.
Of people saying that they're the IRS. They are not the IRS. The IRS will only communicate to you through the snail mail.
That's right.
Not even email. It's only if you get a letter in the mail from the IRS. So if you've got voicemails, if you got anything else like that, it's a scam.
And always check the IRS website for the phone number. If you do get something in the mail, it's a good way to double check.
That's right.
Don't just call back any old number and start handing out your Social Security number.
Yeah, you can Google those numbers, and it will tell you if it's a scam or not.
Yes,
so I love
that's
that.
a great reminder from one of our listeners there. Another one, the IRS was warning people to wait for these 1099-Ks, but that's on pause. So false alarm. And if you're wondering what the heck the 1099-K is, well, there was a tax code change that would have mandated declaration on any exchanges over these payment apps like PayPal, Venmo, other cash apps. If it was over $600 in exchanges, they wanted their cut. But they're waiting. They're going to kick that can down the road for another year. So you don't have to worry about that.
Which technically they're entitled to the taxes, but I'm just saying. Anyway, smaller refunds. The IRS warned people to expect smaller tax refunds this year, guys, in 2023. Think about it. We were all used to that 2020 money, you know what I'm saying? But there were no economic impacts, thank goodness, in 2022. So taxpayers will not get an extra stimulus payment in their 2023 tax refund checks. So I know that y'all were used to getting that money, but it's not going to feel like that.
They had all the expanded tax credits and deductions, like the child tax credit, charitable contribution deduction, but now it's all reverting to the pre-COVID amount. So that's a bummer.
That's a good thing. These tax dollars. All right, number 5, stay away from advanced loans. I cannot say it loud enough. Do not take out a loan for your tax refund.
These ads are everywhere, and I'm going to call them out by name. H&R Block, we see you.
We see
TurboTax,
you, bro.
we see you.
We
Jackson
see you.
Hewitt, we see you.
We see you.
Trying to peddle loans to people for these, we'll get your refund now. We'll give you a loan for it.
And I'm mad about it. You've already loaned your money tax-free and interest-free to the government. All right? Interest-free. You've been giving them your money every paycheck. And now they want to turn around and offer you a loan for your own money.
Don't do it. Don't take the bait.
Just wait and get your refund. All right? That's all we need to do. So I want you guys to know that we've got you covered as far as all of the resources that you're going to need for this tax season. Head over to RamseySolutions.com/taxes. You're going to find everything that you need for this 2023 tax season.
So, Ken, I was listening to our friend Mike Rowe's podcast the other day, and he had an author on, Nick Eberstadt or Eberstadt. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I should have listened to Mike pronounce it, because with his wonderful pipes, it was a great job of pronouncing it, right?
Yeah.
But Mike has been sounding the same alarm that you and I have been sounding, particularly you, that we have what you were saying at the break is a social crisis evolving, and it's showing up in the unemployment numbers when we properly measure them. Now, this economist is a mathematician that did this book, How Things Work. I guess that's Mike's podcast. I don't see the name of his book off the top of my head. Somebody handed it to me the other day at an event I was at.
I believe it's Men at Work, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines.
The essence of their discussion that you and I have been having a similar discussion is this shift in the workplace right now, that we've got a large number of jobs available and no one applying for them. There's a shortage of labor for the first time in post-World War II America. We've never seen this in modern America. And the reason there's a shortage is not because the jobs are so plentiful. It's because there are, according to this article from Fox News, quoting Mike Rowe and quoting this economist, there are now 7 million able-bodied males between 25 and 40 years old that are able to work and are not even looking for work.
Yeah, it's correct, and it's staggering. And so the point here is that what's going on? This is causing massive economic problems. Before we look at the social, very quick glance here. When you have a gap in the jobs like we've had now for the last 2 years, then you've got real small businesses being hurt by this. Think about the restaurants in your small town. They can't find people to work, and it's affecting their livelihood. Then the other economic factor is, of course, we saw and we still see a war for talent. And so wages have gone up tremendously in the last 2 years, which has now led to a stubborn inflationary period that we are in. Now, that's the economic piece. The social piece, what's crazy about this is that you've got 6.8 million people that last month, according to the latest jobs report and the Census Bureau, 100 million Americans weren't working last month. Now, half of them
100 million. That's
100
not
million.
right.
100 million. But half
were working.
No, hold on.
No, we don't have 100 million unemployed. There's only 300 million in the whole stinking
Didn't say
country.
they were unemployed. I'm saying just not working, period. I'm just breaking the numbers down for you.
Oh, yeah, like toddlers.
Half are retired.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Another 12% are dealing with some type of long-term illness, or disability. Okay. And then 5.6 million people saying, I don't want to go back to work because they're scared of COVID. And then the number is right at 7 million that are saying, I don't want to work. And those are the men. So the social factor that's going on here is you've got two factors. One, you've had decades and decades of entitlements. Starts with welfare. And then if you look at during COVID, where people were getting payments every week, every month, all right, so that's an entitlement where they're disincentivized to actually go back to work. And then, Dave, I think the fact that for decades we've literally taken the pain away from our kids. We've removed the struggle. And I don't say this with jest, but I think when you look at things like everybody gets a trophy for participation, and nobody learns the sting of failure. Nobody learns the sting of rejection. And so what happens is a good amount of the 7 million men, not all of them, are in this conversation that Mike had with this economist, are looking at screens based on the data. They say how much time they spend on screens. They get dopamine hits.
2,000 hours a year.
2,000 hours a year.
These 7 million men, 25 to 54, are spending 2,000 hours a year on screens.
So self-medicating because they're scared to leave the cave, using your old analogy.
Not cave, it's mother's basement.
Right. But the idea is they're afraid to put themselves out there. And here's what we know about work. So when someone succeeds in work, their self-esteem goes up. 2, they have financial independence or the opportunity for financial freedom. And then 3, they're a part of something bigger than themselves. It's a sense of belonging.
Dr. John Deloney would tell you your mental health goes up because your dignity, your autonomy,
that's it.
Your ability to control your environment goes up. There is such a mental illness tie-in.
No question.
Caused by not working.
That's right.
Literally. So this idea that you have not put gravel in the stomach of your kids, they have no grit, means as a parent you suck. And so you mommies need to throw your 25-year-old out of your basement yesterday and put him on the street and teach him to work. You're late to the party, but you need to do this. You are doing him a disservice. You are doing America a disservice. You are doing your neighbors a disservice. You're doing the mental health community a disservice. You're risking his increased likelihood of depression, anxiety, and suicide.
That's exactly right.
You are doing all of these things because you're letting Junior play Call of Duty 2,000 hours a year in your basement, and he ain't ever been called to any duty.
Yeah. And the irony is you're doing all of that under the guise of helping your kid feel good about themselves. And the very thing that they need to feel good about themselves is to go out and do good.
Yeah. It's the wussification of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a bunch of wussies.
Yeah.
Is what it amounts to. And, seriously, a good cowboy boot in the butt of this whole thing would be helpful. It really, really would. It just pisses me off. I mean, this is just a thing where you just need to work. Oh, my God. 7 million, and they call them men in this article. I'll call them males. All right? Males, 25 to 40, 7 million of them, literally sitting on their butts. And someone else is caring for them. The government, their mommy, their live-in girlfriend who thinks he's cute.
Here's the breakdown.
Got a sugar mama, do you, buddy?
Here's here's some of the census data, Dave, from a Bloomberg article. The equivalent of 32 million people who aren't working are relying on savings. That includes retirement. Okay, another 26 million are using credit cards or loans, and 12 million have been borrowing
from families. The credit card is the devil. It's at the center of the problem.
There it is. And then here's the part we've been talking about. 12 million have said that they're borrowing from family or friends to help keep them out of the workworkforce.
Yeah.
They're living off
family
of
and
other
friends.
People.
You're enablers.
Yep.
You're giving a drunk a drink. You're giving a lazy person the ability to still be lazy. You're giving someone who's in avoidance mode because they're afraid, they're scared, they're paralyzed by the facing reality and stepping into the real world, when the best thing that can happen to you, the most alive you'll ever feel, is when you risk it and you step up to the plate and the ball comes whizzing across and scares the piss out of you while you swing the bat. This is the best thing that can happen to you.
That's right.
And you strike out.
Right.
And it's okay.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't work out. Oh, darn.
Well, I think the simplest way to look at what Dave is saying is, remember all of us when we rode a bike the first time, we were terrified, horrified maybe.
I'm terrified right now.
Yeah. But what happened? Like, we took that fear, we stepped into it, we learned to ride the bike, and it wasn't much longer before we were saying, look, Mom, no hands. We go from terrified to get on the bike to, look, Mom, no hands. And that's the human spirit. The idea of these kids, these men, I shouldn't say kids, but some of them are emotionally kids.
Yeah.
They need to feel alive. And the way you feel alive is by making a contribution for yourself and for others. That's simple.
You don't feel alive where there's no risk.
Well, that's exactly right.
And the coddling of the American male, the wussification of this culture, it is really starting to be a social problem.
And now an economic.
It started out as a parenting problem. It started out as this. And hey, man, I don't know. No. I'm just going to blame you, moms and dads.
Well, I would say the friends and the parents are absolutely culpable. And I would say this.
I can blame Call of Duty if you want, but moms and dads that are good moms and dads rip that crap out of the wall and say, get your butt out and mow the grass.
Here's one other one. We the people, taxpayers. We got to
quit giving these morons money to sit on their butts.
No more government entitlements. That's where we the people can do something.
It's just not good for the moron, and it's not good for the government, and it's not good for us.
I like when I make a policy recommendation.
It's a Be Kind to Morons Day, okay? Really. Oh, my gosh.
Dave's like the soundtrack to all my policies.
Well, in the twilight, as 2022 is coming to a close, Congress passed a massive spending bill, of course, because that's what you should do if you're in Congress. And but the good news is, as a part of that, they also passed what is appropriately called the Secure Act of 2022, 2.0. So what is the Secure Act 2.0? Well, it changes a bunch of things in your retirement and a couple of things in your student loans as well. And a good blog at RamseySolutions.com right now. Very good detail on this, unpacked, if you want to get in there and really look at it and plug around. I think we post those blogs on Facebook, too, if I remember, James. And but, George, I want to take a minute, since that blog's out there, and you guys can go through it all and look at it in detail. But for those of you that don't make it over the blog, let's hit the highlights.
Yeah, there's a ton in here that really help a lot of people with their retirement. I mean, Secure Act stands for Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement. So kudos to the marketing team that got to create that little acronym there.
Yeah, well, good luck with that part. But anyway, it's good updates. It's some things that needed to happen.
Yeah, so it's starting with required minimum distributions. You'll hear these called RMDs. The age is rising to 73 instead of 72, which means you have an extra year without the government tapping you to get some of their cash.
Yeah, required minimum distributions are your 401k, your Roth, or your traditional IRAs. They require you to start taking money out at a minimum schedule so they can tax it. And it used to be 70 and a half, then it moved to 72, and with this it moves to 73. So you can leave your money alone and not touch it till 73 now. That's good.
Next one, no more required minimum distributions from Roth 401ks and Roth 403bs. So this one's interesting because you've already paid the taxes on it. So they're saying you've already paid the taxes, you can just have it.
It doesn't do anything to force you to start taking it out on RMDs. So we're going to let you just let it sit there and grow tax-free. You don't ever have to take it. Another reason to love a Roth.
That's great. Next up, smaller penalties for missed required minimum distributions. It was 50%. It's coming down to 25%.
Yeah, if you miss your RMDs. Yeah, simple.
That's good. Next, higher catch-up contributions on the way. So if you're 50 years or older, there's a lot of great ways you can step up your retirement. Put an extra $1,000 in your IRA, for example, an extra $5,000, extra $7,500 in your 401ks, and they're increasing that.
Yeah, 60 to 63, beginning in 25, in 2025, January 1, If you're age 60 to 63, you'll be able to put $10,000 annually into a workplace retirement plan, an additional $10,000. And so it allows you, if you're, quote, running behind, is it too late for me? This is for you, right?
Love it. All right, next up on the good news front, easier access to retirement funds for emergencies,
Not
or
good
is
news.
it?
Not good news.
That's one of the downers of this plan here. We were doing so great, Dave. We were on a great
We were batting
roll.
1,000 until we got to stupid land here.
And so here's what this means. Starting in 2024, you can withdraw up to $1,000 from your retirement account for personal or family emergencies. If you've been listening to the show for more than 10 seconds, you'll know that you should never tap your retirement accounts for emergencies.
Yeah, you should have an emergency fund and leave your freaking retirement account alone and let it grow and make you rich.
Absolutely. All right.
Dumb.
Here's an interesting one. Curious to get your take on this, Dave. Employers must automatically enroll you into a workplace retirement plan.
This is nanny state stuff.
Holding your hand.
This is we're going to take care of you because you're too stupid to take care of yourself idea. And so now when you join a company that has a 401k, the company is required to sign you up for the 401k automatically.
At an automatic minimum contribution rate of 3%.
And if you don't want that to happen, you have to
opt out.
Manually go in and opt out. You have to stop it from occurring. That's too much control. It's got a good intent. Want everybody to have a retirement account. That's a good thing. Yes, you need to be in your 401k, but let's say you're working the baby steps, you would need to opt out because you're not doing 401k because you're on baby step 2.
Well, and the other problem is if you are in a place to invest, you've got 3%, you don't realize it. You need to up that to 15% if you're out of debt with a fully funded emergency fund.
Yeah.
So be sure you pay attention to that stuff.
Don't, we're from the government and we're here to help. These are scary words, okay?
A 3% rate is not going to get you very far in retirement. So we've got to do better for sure. Next, this has been one of some hot debate. Employers can match your student loan payments with retirement contributions.
It's confusing.
Yes.
Because it sounds like they're paying your student loans. Now, some employers are now offering a benefit that has nothing to do with this, just where they will help you pay your student loans off one way or another, whatever it is. They'll match you, they'll do whatever. It has nothing to do with anything as far as this stuff goes. This is not that. This is you pay up to $3,000 on your student loan, and your employer puts up to $3,000 into your 401k. Which doesn't, it's just like...
Wouldn't that incentivize you to never pay off your student loans?
Like, we want you to eat apples, so we're going to chop oranges. It's just weird. You mix these things up, and people are getting confused about it already. They think it means the government's going to pay part of your student, or the employer's going to pay part of your student loan and match you on what you're putting on your student loan. They're not. They have to put it in the 401k. So it's weird.
Well, it's because
anything
loans,
that gets more money against your student loan or causes you to do that, anything that gets more money into your retirement, I'm for all of that, but this is just convoluted and weird.
Well, wouldn't you be pissed if you already paid off your student loans or didn't have any, and Joe Schmo's next to you is getting an extra $3,000 in his 401k?
That's a benefit, though. That's your employer offering a benefit. The employer's not required to offer this benefit.
I'm curious to see how many employers do this.
Yeah, I don't think they'll. Well, you never know.
You never know out there. All right. Next up, you can roll over unused 529 plan funds to a Roth IRA.
Ding, ding. This one's good.
This one I love because that's been a big point of objection. People go, well, Dave, what if my kid doesn't go to college? They don't use all the money. That money's just wasted.
Yeah, it's not.
You can roll it
after
over.
15 years, your kid rolls it into their Roth IRA, no penalties.
Up to the annual contribution.
So you put $150,000 into a 529. Kid uses 75 or 80,000 of it. Whatever's left in there sits there 15 years, growing tax-free in good mutual funds. And then they roll it into a Roth IRA, into good mutual funds, and it continues to grow tax-free. No penalties.
That one I'm a huge fan of.
I love this one.
This is a fun one, too. Roth options are now available for simple IRAs and SEP IRAs. So folks that are self-employed, business owners, this is cool.
I'm confused. I thought that was already there. I'm not sure they.
The Roth
I'm not
SEP
sure
and
they
Roth
didn't.
Simple.
I'm not sure they didn't already have that, but I could be wrong. So it's good, though. Yeah, the simple IRA is simply a 401k for small business. And the SEP IRA is the simple incentive match plan for it's best used by a solopreneur, because if you have employees, you have to put the same amount in
you got to
that
match
you put in
it
for yourself. So we seldom use SEP IRAs much, but simple IRAs are great for small businesses to open up, and now they can do a Roth.
That's good news. And lastly, new emergency savings account option alongside retirement accounts. So this one's a little different than the previous one, but it's saying that the employer can set aside up to $2,500 annually for non-highly compensated employees in a separate emergency savings alongside their retirement account. Yeah. So it's a little sidecar here.
Yeah.
But is it invested?
The problem is $2,500 is not enough for an emergency fund, and so then you've got the $1,000 you can take out of your 401k for your emergency, and you've got it all over at the employer. And so people get the idea, oh, my emergency fund's taken care of. It's not. There's not enough money. There's very few of you that 3 to 6 months of expenses represents $2,500. So this is one of those head fakes that the government's saying, hey, look, we did something, and they didn't want to do anything because it's not sufficient to cover it. Now, if they could do up to $10,000 in there or something, that might cover some people's the emergency
Not
fund.
enough to do any damage here.
I wouldn't use this instead of your emergency fund, and I wouldn't use the option to cash money out of your 401k for emergencies either as your emergency fund. I wouldn't do either one. I'd leave all of that alone.
Well, credit where credit's due. There's a lot of wins in here, and you guys can check out the entire article. We've got it linked in the show notes, wherever you're listening, of course, at RamseySolutions.com. But I needed a win today. I'm going to call this a win.
I'm going to call it a win. We pick on, and we can even allow President Joe Biden to call a win. He signed it.
I'm sure he's already tweeted it.
He signed it, and so he gets a win on that. Way to go, President Biden.
You don't hear that often from Dave.
Not often at all. Can't shoot down a balloon, but you can sign this. This is The Ramsey Show. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
So I'm familiar with the baby steps. I try to be a good steward of them, but I seem to continuously sabotage myself. So I just need to know, how can I be more diligent in, I guess, following them?
How do you sabotage yourself?
I make that budget. I am on it every day, checking, making sure I'm tracking my expenses. And then one of the family members that I have a need, or I personally will be like, well, I guess I can go out of town and go and do that. And so then I have to recalculate everything. And then I push my...
So you're getting stuck on the meticulous numbers, and one thing throws a wrench in the plans, and you go, oh my gosh, I failed again.
Oh, no, I think it's deeper than that. I think the budget's like a toy. It's like it's just something for you to fiddle with. It's almost like a fidget spinner. But your real identity is, if any family member calls for any reason, I'm the hero and I'll save that. Or I'm only going to live once, and so I'm just going to go do whatever I want to do. I'm going to take care of right now me and forget about next year Marine.
I guess well, if the family calls and they need something, I'm going to cut from my budget line that I have assigned for me. I mean, mind you, it's like minimal for my personal expenses for the month. But
why are you putting your oxygen mask on them before you? You're not in a place to be giving right now.
When you say family, are these your children? Is this a spouse? Who's calling you up going, hey, we need to spend this?
Yeah, adult children.
Ah, how old are we talking?
30.
Oh boy.
Maureen.
I can count on zero fingers how many times I have called my parents for money since I was, 20 years old. So this seems to be, there's a systemic problem where they go, well, mom is going to be sweet and send us some money because we're struggling. What do they need at 30 that something they can't provide for themselves?
Well, I'm providing quite a bit for them already.
Why?
That they live
Wait, why? Maureen, what do you feel guilty about?
It just seems difficult for them to make that step into independence.
It does, because their mom won't let them go.
I wouldn't leave either. This sounds like a brilliant plan. I get to live at home for free. Mom pays for all my expenses.
And then when I run out of money, I call mom, and she cuts herself off at the knees to keep my restaurant budget going.
Okay. Well, I have made some stuff.
Listen, she's like, all right, I'm done with you two.
Yeah, you need some problems. Yeah, you need some problems is what I've heard and listened to. And so I implemented, okay, you've got to pay me rent. And so apartment 1, you give me $300, and apartment 2, you give me $750 is what I tell them. And it doesn't come with any concierge services. So I'm trying to, implement those steps.
How old are you,
Like,
Maureen?
I'm 48.
What are your financial goals?
To be debt free.
So you
and to
still
pay
have
off my
debt?
mortgage as soon as possible.
Okay. So you have consumer
I do.
debt?
I have 15,000. I have 15,000 in debt. Yes, and I have 187,000 on my mortgage.
Okay.
Hold on. I just got. Sorry, George. No concierge service, as though you'll show them.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But I'm going to check the mail for them. I'm not going to go run and grab food for them on my way home.
How would that even be in your mind that you had to say that out loud? They're 30.
Because that's what they asked for.
I think we need a hard boundary conversation to say, listen, I love you guys, and I have loved you too hard, and I have stunted your growth, and that part is on me. But there's a part that's your responsibility, and that is going to live your freaking life. So you have 6 months to get a plan and get out of this house and find an apartment. And if you need 7 roommates and a third job, I'm just saying we need a game plan to get out.
Maureen, have you ever gone to a gym and worked out?
Yes, I hate it.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Here's what you're doing for your kids. They're going to the gym, and they're looking at you saying, Mom, I've got to get stronger. I've got to. I can't live my life like this. I got to get stronger. And you said, okay, I'll go with you. And you walk into the gym, and when they lay down on the bench to lift some weights, you run over there and take all the weight off the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And they push the bar up with no weight on it, and they're now 30, and they're wondering why they can't navigate the world. They're not strong enough. And it's because you keep using them to make yourself feel like you're being a good mom. And that's not their job. Why do you feel this need to keep... There's got to be some guilt you're trying to wipe... I mean, I don't know. What are you trying to solve or accomplish by giving 30-year-olds this much support and care? Do they have special needs? Or they just don't want to work? Or what's the deal?
No. Yeah, they're working. He just finished school, and he took a pause for a bit, and then his fiance is finishing going back to school, and I told them a few months back when I gave them their rent notice that they were going to have to start paying rent that, let's revisit this in June, because if it's working until June, and then, then we'll see where we go from there. But if it's not working, then...
How far below is $300? How far below is that market rent?
Oh, gosh. I mean, that's nothing.
Exactly.
And that's for the youngest one who will pay me whatever I want. And this is the thing. I tell them, I don't need your money. I just need you to do your thing.
But they need your money.
They need your money. Focus on me. Yeah.
So my worry, there's a lot of problems here. Number one is that you haven't put your own mask on first. You're going to remain broke while sacrificing for your kids that can't start their adult life. So that's problem number one. And the other problem here is that their growth will continue to be stunted as long as they still have this sweet scenario. And so your job is not to be cruel, but to be honest on both sides and say, I haven't done a great job of doing this. You guys need to step it up. I'm going to give you 3 months to find a place to live, and I will help you leave gracefully. You don't need to kick them out on the street and evict them, but this is a problem that's gone on far too long. I literally thought you were calling to be like, my 8-year-old needs saxophone reads for band.
Yeah,
this is a 30-year-old grown adult.
Or a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Or someone about to be married.
My youngest is married, and this is where I say I self-sabotage myself, right? I have my plan. My youngest is married, and I said, well, instead of you guys, carrying that burden of finishing nursing school one semester, why don't you just stay here for a year, and then after that, then go ahead and get your own place. And they're looking to buy, but that's going to take them at least another 6 months.
They need to rent. Give them.
They've been saving.
They can go sign a 6-month lease.
Tell them this.
And get used to paying their own bills.
I want to be your mom and not your landlord. I want to be your mom and not your bank. And I can't do both. And if they choose, well, we wanted you to be our bank, then y'all need to have that conversation. But I
Can I ask a hard question, Maureen? What happened to Dad?
Sure. Oh, that's a whole other call.
But I think a lot of this stems from the fact...
Yeah, no, he's there. He's here, but...
Is he?
I don't...
Because it sounds like you've taken on the brunt of all of this, and maybe part of it is because of what's happening with Dad, and you feel like you need to be the savior and hold this family together.
Well, no, he's here. We're married. I just financially don't do anything with him. I do nothing financially with him.
That seems to be part of
We
this
can't
problem.
Align.
I would start
we can't
there.
Align. Yeah.
And I wonder if you're trying to buy a continued relationship with your kids. And you want to ask about why you can't keep a budget? Because you got a lot of stuff going on.
The budget's not the problem, Maureen. We have to have a lot of hard conversations really soon.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Julian is up next in New York City. Julian, how can we help?
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
My question right now, I am around 20 years old, or I am 20 years old in college, and I'm currently making around $20,000 to $25,000 a month. And my boss wanted to give me a pretty big bonus for basically hitting a pretty big benchmark in sales, around $1.5 million. And he wanted to give me a $50,000 bonus to put towards any gift. He didn't just want to give it to me cash, and he wanted to essentially help me buy a new car. And I'm 20, I'm in college, and realistically, financially, it wouldn't make a really big dent for me to put an extra, 10 to 20 into a car and potentially get like a $60,000 to $70,000 car. And I was wondering, if it wasn't, a stupid financial decision, do you think that would be potentially a good decision for me to make, given that I'm 20 and it wouldn't hurt me financially?
You have no debt or any debt at all?
No debt, nothing.
No
I have around
debt.
$200,000 in savings.
And you're making 20 to 25 grand a month.
Correct.
And he's going to give you 50 towards a car. And so if you buy a $50,000 car, you don't pay a nickel. If you buy a $70,000 car, you pay 20 and you've already got 200 plus in the bank. Am I hearing all this
Correct.
right?
Yes, exactly. I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but
Well, what's your concern?
I have a concern.
Well, let's hear his first. Why'd you call us to ask us about this?
Well, I was just wondering because I think that I'm relatively mature for my age, and I guess going back to school, I'm taking a semester off, and I'm going back to school, in August in the fall, and I was just wondering, given that I've worked so hard for the last few years, I feel that I deserve it, and I'm excited to drive around in a nice car, not have to drive around in the Subaru. But I don't know. I guess other people kind of seeing that, I don't want to look like the kind of person who, like, my parents bought me a really nice car. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but if I'm in your shoes, I don't give a crap what anybody thinks about the car I'm driving, especially if it was a gift. And if it were me, unless I'm missing something, the guy's going to give you $50,000 towards it. If he will not give it to you as a bonus, he's going, I'm doing it this way, then the rules are the rules. And you're busting it, you're killing it.
Right.
Unless I'm missing something. But if it were me, I wouldn't get $70,000 car. I'd get a $50,000 car and not pay a nickel. I'd take the free car. I wouldn't put any extra money into that. But let me also say, if you've been listening to this program, Dave talks about the ratio. Jade can break that down when we talk about ratio to what you make. So for you to spend 20 on top of the 50 based on what you make and what you've got in the bank, it's a no-brainer. So if your concern is I'm worried about what others are going to say because I'm young and I'm driving a nice car around, first of all, I don't give a crap what they think. And secondly, you've got a legitimate story. You're not a trust fund baby. There's nothing for you to be ashamed of. You've worked really hard to get to this point where you're making incredible money, young man. You've been frugal. You have no debt. Man, I'd say enjoy this bonus.
I have a question, though. I have a couple questions. You mentioned going back to school. What does that mean for your income when you go back to school?
Well, surprisingly, I've actually been able to balance this pretty well with school.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to finish getting the degree. I think that it's valuable, and my parents are, I'm very thankful they're paying for it. So
You're doing this while in school, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, he's making this money while in school.
When you said going back to school in August, it made it seem like you were gone for a while or hadn't finished.
I may take a bit of a pay cut, but realistically, I'll still be able to make a pretty decent amount.
You're crushing it.
That's crazy. Listen, you're 20 years old. I want to know, what do you sell? Can you tell us?
Yeah, so I work with influencers online who have very big audiences, like anywhere from 200,000 to 1 million followers online, and I basically help sell and market products to those to basically their audience, whether it's real estate or make money online coaching, anything like that, fitness coaching.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Help sell market. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer.
That's excellent.
This is a no-brainer.
Get the car. Hey, how much of your own money are you going to add with it, or are you just going to take the $50,000 and get a $50,000 car?
I'm thinking if I decide to get a car, I'll just get the car I really want, and if that ends up being 70, I'll put an extra 20. If it ends up being 50, I'll
That's
just
great.
stick with 50.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Just be smart.
That's great.
Just
And
be
who cares
smart.
what other haters think? They're drinking on that haterade.
Yeah.
You worked hard for this.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that story. You don't get that call very often. That's why I ask all the questions. I want to make sure I got all the facts, but that one's pretty straightforward. Way to go, young man.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
All right, Gabrielle is on the line in Detroit. Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. My question is, should I apply for my first credit card so I don't have to continue paying for everything in cash?
No.
Where is this coming from? So right now you're paying for everything with actual physical dollars?
Cash, I mean, as in, we'll get that in just money in my bank account.
Like your own money.
Okay. And so what is your
Yes.
fear with using your own money from your own bank account with a debit card?
I guess, I mean, I know that a credit card can help me build my credit. I do have other lines of credit open, just not a credit card. And also, I guess sometimes it's going to sound silly, but it's kind of hard to let go of some cash all at once. So the idea of paying it in increments by the due date is somewhat appealing.
What if I
that would
told you
be
that
debt.
that's your body saying, don't make a stupid decision? When you say letting go of a lot of money at once, what would be the purchase here?
I don't have anything in particular, just my day-to-day transactions. So things like groceries, gas, maybe like a leisurely item here and there.
So you'd rather lump it all into one giant mountain and then 30 days later have that come out of your account if you're lucky?
I guess not.
That's even scarier to me because I've been there.
Yeah.
I was that guy who opened the credit card to build the credit, who racked up a bunch of debt on there, and the balance carried. So I'm telling you, as a guy who did this, you don't want to do this. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay. Have you ever had a credit card?
No.
Wow. And you've survived to tell the tale.
I just think it's interesting. Okay, our screen says, I don't want to pay for everything in cash, which kind of feels a little bit like, it doesn't feel like it's as much of a credit card and building. Is it for building credit, or is there something else behind this? Like, I'm just trying to understand, because this might sound simple, but in my mind, I'm thinking if I want to buy something, I should use my money to buy it. That's the whole purpose of working is so that you have money to purchase the things that you want and need, and you feel purpose in doing that. And so there's part of me that kind of feels like credit cards take away that feeling of satisfaction. I've worked, the money I've earned is good enough for me, and I can use that money to make my purchases. Where does that bother you? I'm trying to understand kind of your take on this.
Like I said, I guess people always tell me that you should have a credit card to build your credit. I don't know if I should need that. Just my friends and family.
Are your friends outstandingly wealthy that you look up to them and go, I want to be them when I grow up?
Not exactly.
So
there's one reason to not listen to them.
There's a foundational difference here. And so where George and I are coming from is you might be new to this show, but everyone here is we are of the mind that we don't need or rely on credit at all for our lives because, like I said before, we have jobs, our jobs earn money, and we've learned to live on the money that we earn. And when we do that, we keep ourselves out of debt and we keep ourselves out of risk in general in life because we're just using and spending the money that we have. We're using that money to pay for our day-to-day needs. We're using that money to save up emergency funds so that we don't need to rely on credit cards. And so that's where George and I are approaching this. And it sounds like some of the people that you've been talking to have a different view of life. And their view of life is your money is not enough. And so you have to get credit because they can give you the money you need to have the lifestyle you want. And the only way to get credit is if you can have debt. And so it's this ping pong between debt and building credit and more debt and building credit. And when you do your life like that, you're just constantly caught in that limbo. You're never debt free, and you're never actually living on the money that you earn. And you're in this constant state of risk to play that game when you don't have to.
That's understandable. I appreciate you sharing that.
And I want to take it a step further, and George can help me with this, because I think, Gabrielle, what happens, it's truly, and I don't say this to be ugly to anybody, I truly think a lot of people don't know and don't have the education to understand you can buy cars without a credit score, and you can get apartments without a credit score, and you can buy homes without a credit score. That's not taught in our culture. I mean, we're really the only ones talking about it over here at Ramsey Solutions.
It's become controversial over time just to pay cash for things.
Because when you pay cash for things, no one's really making any additional money off of you. So a lot of companies don't like that. They don't like that we say this. And I kind of want you to hear that. Like, we're teaching you something that you can live and be self-sustainable, and no one's constantly making money off you, right? They're not making money off you on interest and payments and late fees. That's really what this argument is about. You don't have to play that game. So I hope you hear that with a clear, what is it? Clear minds, clear hearts.
Yes.
Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. Is
Thank
what
you,
it is.
James.
Thank you, James. Texas forever.
Gabrielle, I'm curious. You said you wanted this to build credit. Why do you feel like you need to build credit?
I guess in case I ever needed to take another loan out in the future, because right now, like I said, I do have 3 other lines of credit open.
What are those lines of credit?
I have a mortgage, a car loan, and some student loans.
Okay. And so your path is, let's get more lines of credit to get more lines of credit to get more debt to get more lines of credit. That seems to be the path.
I guess that's what I thought I should be doing.
Well, what I'm trying to do is unravel this to show you the insanity that America has fallen into. And so when you really look at what credit scores are for, it's a magic number that was given to us by the credit gods to get us into more debt. And so when you decide, I'm done with debt, I don't want a car loan anymore, I don't want the student loan anymore, you no longer have a need for credit. And even when it comes to buying a house, I bought a house with no credit score. And we teach people, save up and pay for a car you can afford in cash. Mm-hmm. And then you don't need credit because they don't check your credit score when you pay cash.
Because let's just play this out down the line, Gabrielle. What happens if you do what you called in to do, what you just say, you know what? I don't want to use my own money anymore. I'm going to use credit cards. What happens is each month you have a revolving balance. And if you're lucky, you pay it off. If you're not, you keep some of it there. And so you end up now with a car note, a student loan, and then credit cards. And my question for you was, what does that get you? If you do that, what are you getting out of this deal besides debt?
I guess the material item of whatever it was I purchased.
Which was probably not a wise
for me
purchase.
To pay off.
And here's what I found. When you use someone else's money, you look at it differently. When you use your own money, you start to go, oh, crap. That's money leaving my bank account right now.
Well, that's science, George. Like there's actual psychological studies on what happens when you use credit card that's plastic versus credit card that's your debit card versus cold hard cash. Your body becomes more and more removed from the process, the more and more it's removed from being actual money in your hand. Even something like Apple Pay, even though it's your money.
But their tagline is cashless made effortless. They want to make spending so effortless. And here's what I found, Gabrielle, now for 10 years living with a debit card. When it hurts less, it costs more. You spend more, you're hoping you can make the payment, you're lucky to make the payment. I found when I use my debit card, I don't need hope or luck. I need to actually pay attention to my money. And when I run out, I can't spend anymore. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is a great way to build wealth. And it adds really healthy guardrails. So that's why I'm recommending all of this to you. And I unpack all of this in the credit cards chapter of my new book, Breaking Free from Broke. I'm telling you, you will want to take a shower after reading that chapter. I unpack the studies. I go through every objection that's in your mind. I'll show you how to live life outside of the credit card and credit score system. So hang on the line. Our team's going to pick up and we will gift you Breaking Free from Broke. You can choose audiobook, ebook, the hardcover copy, however you like to read. We want to make sure we get it into your ears or in your hands. Thank you so much for the call. Great question. Love your heart around this, and I hope we've convinced you to stay away from these gross companies. Because listen, Capital One's out here sponsoring the Taylor Swift tour. We can't afford tickets to the Taylor Swift tour. Who is winning here? It's not us. It's the companies with the big buildings downtown.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. We've spent way too much time in the last 2 decades in America talking about our feelings. We ought to deal with some facts and then let your feelings decide from there how you feel about the facts. But let's start with facts because that changes everything. That leads me to something I want to talk to you about. You've got your finger on the pulse of this whole freaking job market that is the weirdest job market I have ever seen in 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
I've been working 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
Started cutting grass when I was 12. I'm 62. Okay. So, but I mean, I've been in the workplace 40 years, right? And I've owned a business a lot of that time of one kind or another. And I've never seen a job market. This is the weirdest dadgum job market. On the one hand, we've got these immoral corporate dubers laying people off just to run their profits up or because they're scared of what might happen next year. Mm-hmm. In anticipation of that, they do 10,000 people, put them on the street, right? There's that. There's people leaving their jobs to go take higher pay or work from home only to find out that they're the first ones laid off or that they've entered into a toxic culture of some kind or another that's a dadgum mess. And so for $10,000 or $20 or $30 or $40,000 more a year, they went and took a job and now they regret it. So there's the great resignation followed by the great regret. You got those people. You got the other people being laid off. And at the same time, we've still got a labor shortage.
Yes.
It's the most convoluted, screwed up thing I've ever seen.
Well, you got the fact that you saw the pandemic create 4 million new jobs. Okay. And then when the pandemic was over, 4 million people that had left or maybe were laid off or retired during that time didn't come back. So that's created disparity. Plus, you've got 7 million men that are between the age of 25 and 55 who are able to work and are choosing not to work. They are living off of someone, whether that be government benefits
and one piece of research that we were talking about the other day said they spend 2,000 hours a year on a screen.
Which means they're getting
like Call of Duty, and they don't know what duty is.
That's right. They're medicating themselves with the dopamine from screens and entertainment in all of its various forms. And instead of getting out there and getting the contribution and the dopamine that comes from, hey, I did something that mattered today. So we have a
work ethic crisis. We have a shortage of labor.
That's right.
We have a values crisis with corporate America dumping people on the street. We have people jumping ship from the, out of the frying pan into the fire.
That's right.
They leave what they thought was a bad job to get a much better pay, but at a horrible place who treats them like crap. Yep. So I can work from home part-time and get paid for full-time because everybody that works from home does not work 8 hours. Let me just tell you, okay? You sit on your butt. We know what you're doing. Or you're working 2 of these full-time jobs, which is straight up unethical.
That's professional polygamy, Dave. I coined that term the other day. Professional polygamy.
Working 2 full-time jobs and calling it work from home.
Yeah, you're cheating on both of them.
Professional polygamy.
You got quiet quitting. I decided to come up with my own term, but it's a real thing. You're lying to both companies.
It's career infidelity.
That's it. It is.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay.
No, but so here's what's interesting. And I want to give an economic and a money play on this. All of that we just laid out.
So in the middle of that, a person that will work hard and has character, in the middle of all that discombobulation, there's opportunity big time.
Oh, sure. Of course there is. Well, but see, now here's what's interesting. But you got to be careful not to just take the paycheck opportunity.
It's not just a paycheck. I'm saying you could go find a great company at above average pay.
Oh, yeah. And move up.
And have a great career opportunity without working for some bunch of dubers.
That's right.
But people don't make the decision exclusively on the pay change.
No.
You've got to look at the quality of the leadership team, the situation.
Yeah, so it's the right role.
Because the data is telling us if you're working from home or if you're the last one hired, you're going to be the first ones laid off.
It's absolutely true. That is data-based.
So you are vulnerable if you took a job doing that for more. So you left a regular job in the office 40 hours and you make $35,000 a year more than you used to make, but you're working from home, your head's the first one on the block.
And here's another factor. Remote workers may be the first to go as they ship jobs overseas. They could pay you from home. They could pay somebody from another country from home.